Hello, today I am in La Falda, Argentina, which is a beautiful small mountainous town. And I want to talk about the trappings of success. I was thinking about this today and had just to get it, externalized. There's an idea that I've been playing with, which is that once you achieve a certain level of external success, there's certain trappings of that success, right? That success can actually make you into a slave. So take me for example. Before I was making any, extraordinary amount of money, which I don't make an extraordinary amount of money, but I have some money now. I have some freedom. I can buy some things. I can take my girlfriend on vacation. And before that, all I wanted was more money and more freedom, which is why I started my coaching business 3 years ago. And since then, I've been able to make, six figures pretty comfortably every single year from the coaching business, which is quite remarkable, quite amazing. It's definitely not something that everybody who enters the coaching business or enters any business actually achieves, and it's something that I worked really hard to be able to have. But at this stage, there are certain points where I find myself feeling like a bit enslaved to the business in a way. And let me explain. Okay. There are times when I feel like, wow, if I were to make less money, that somehow I wouldn't be worthy or good enough anymore. Or I find myself comparing myself to other people who have bigger businesses, bigger teams, more success, more followers, higher closing percentage, whatever the case may be, right? Um, Other things like my team, my employees, right? Sometimes I find myself attached to, oh, I have this team and now I can't lose them. And now if I want to downgrade the size of the business, then, I have to let people down or I have to let people go that I invested a lot into, right? It's like I've built up a business, which that's a form of investment. I've also built up somewhat of a persona of who I am in the niche that I am and how I perceive myself and how my friends see me and stuff like that. The external labels that come to mind are like I am a dating coach, I am a coach, I am a business owner, I have a team, I make six figures. These are all things that in the last 2, 3 years I realized that I became attached to, and I was scared that if they disappeared, that somehow, like, internally, that I just wouldn't be me anymore, that I would lose it all, that I would disappear, that I wouldn't be worthy anymore. And this is something that I've been working a lot with my therapist on, which is the idea that I am not any of these external things or labels. I am just Alex. I am just me. That if I, you know, decide next year I'm just going to go live in some small town, on 12K a year, and be, fishing and meditating, right, full time. If that's what I decide to do, that's okay. That if I'm not a coach anymore, that's okay. Or if I'm not a dating coach anymore, that's okay. If I'm not a business owner, if I decide to become an employee, or if I decide to just take off and just do nothing for a year because I have enough savings or whatever the case may be, that if I just disappear from social media, that none of these things define who I am. That inwardly there is a me that is more authentic and more aligned and more true than the external labels that people may identify me as, right? People on social media see me as Alex, the Asian dating coach, right? And for a long time, that's how I saw myself. But I'm realizing now that that's not how I have to see myself. In fact, that's a trap, that's an inner trapping. That if I become attached to that thing, I started the business so that I could be free, so I could do the things that I want, so I could travel. But then, even achieving those things, right, having some degree of financial freedom and some degree of location freedom, you can still actually be inwardly trapped by the identity, the thing that you now identify as, that people see you as, this persona that you've created, can actually become a trap for um, the inner peace that, well, personally, I want to be able to feel. I want to be able to, you know, play this game of life in any role, not just these sort of external labeled roles that I've played in so far. This is something that also happens to a lot of guys in the world of dating, right? They have no success with women. Then they go on a whole hero's journey, become successful with women, and then they become trapped by it. They got into it a lot of times because of lack of validation, lack of self love, trauma from childhood. And once they achieve the material success, a lot of women wanting to date them, wanting to hook up with them, then they actually get addicted to it. The women basically enslave them. The idea that they have to be so good with women or sleep with a certain amount of women or live up to this persona that they're such a player, that their friends see them as. And they get trapped by this idea that this is the way they have to be now, forgetting or maybe never realizing that there's more to it, right? They never question, okay, what do women actually mean to me in this life? Why do I want women? Why do I want to be with women? What does a relationship mean? What does multiple relationships mean to me? What does all of this sex and intimacy do for me, right? Personally, I had to go through that as well as part of my journey, right? The first part was the external success with women, and the second part was the internal success of asking myself, what's actually fulfilling? What's actually important to me in terms of dating and relationships? What do I want out of this? When I die, how do I want to have related to the world of women? And these questions brought me to where I am right now, and the relationship that I have right now, which is, I'm not saying that's the way it should be for every single person. I'm just saying everybody who gets to some level of success needs to question, what does that thing represent for me? What does women represent for me? What does money represent for me? A lot of people who work really hard on their body, they get a six pack, they get a good body. Now they actually become enslaved to it. They're enslaved to 6, 7 times at the gym and eating chicken and broccoli because that's they believe that they have to be that person now. They have to be that person that has a year-round six pack, or else who would I be without it? Who would I then be if I lost my six pack, if I gained 1% body fat, right? If I don't have cool photos to share on Instagram, who would I then be, right? So they then become enslaved to the success that they got in the first place. So I think that in the world of success and personal development, it's important, obviously, to take that first step, that first ginormous step, honestly, paradigm change of not having success in a certain area to having success. But then once you're somewhat successful, I think it's very wise to start questioning that success and what it represents and what it means, and not get enslaved by it, because there are actually people who take that to the extreme. Maybe they make 6 figures and then they make 7 figures and they make 8 figures, and then they get so enslaved by that that they can actually go downward spiritually. Inwardly, they go downward. There's people who have killed themselves over this, right? People, movie stars who have gained all the fame, all the success, all the money, all the accolades, and then they're enslaved by it. They're trapped by it as a person. They can't leave that persona, and then they kill themselves because it's too much pressure. It's too much overwhelm. They don't have any freedom anymore. They're trapped, right? So that's the thought of the day. Hope you guys enjoyed the beautiful, beautiful views out here. We came here for a week and it's absolutely beautiful. I love these nature retreats to be able to recharge, connect back with nature. And a lot of these deep philosophical ideas come whenever I'm in a place of recharge, relax, spiritual alignment. So, hope you have a great rest of your day and think deeply about what is the meaning of success and what it does for you, and that you are the chooser. You are the chooser of your life. Don't let your success or any external labels decide who you are or how you can live your life.